Which science, by definition, allows for more than one opinion. Otherwise, you merely have the will of one man, which is the basis of cult.
If it's not in frame, it doesn't exist.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, an illusion?
Where you been?
Drunk.
Wendy, darling, light of my life.
What is your one purpose in life?
To explode, of course.
I like death with sex. How about you, Casey? You like sex with death?
Yeah, so fuck up and die.
Ready to get going
No,
here.
I was going to say, and I wanted to save this at least because I was looking up. I usually don't look up shit for the movies, you know, but while watching this movie, I had to find like some footage. I wanted to see what the original footage looked like before they rotoscoped it. So I was like looking up like Spine and I making of, Spine and I before. And so I did see a little bit of the AMA because I was trying to find some footage and I only found like a fucking like 5-second clip of footage.
There's like nothing.
It was like part of another interview that I could not find, but there was like one clip and it was literally like just them in a room with like some lights and a mattress against a white wall. And it was from the fight on the bell on the church. And she's like she's like shaking a fake sword, and then it shows like the same shot, but like the final shot. And I'm like, see, I want to see more of like the behind the scenes of the rotoscope because I was just like imagining because it's inspiring to see that stuff where it's like I could do that if with enough elbow grease.
Well, that's
you know what I mean.
Dude, we're gonna find out that this is this was made by a very small studio and a very small production, no studio actually. So
yeah.
Anyways. This is definitely attainable. That, I think, is, like, my biggest takeaway from this film is I'm just like, it gets, like, my creative juices flowing, baby.
You know me, us here at the, this is the Cult of Cinema Knowledge podcast. Jordan and Levi here. If you were a longtime listener, welcome back. If you're new, hello. But if you are, you know that we like spunky, scrappy, little like we're always rooting for the underdogs, and we give movies a lot more benefit of the doubt if we know it's like a smaller indie movie, or we can feel like the passion behind it. And we'll get into it, but for me anyway, this movie kind of fits that bill.
We're like the farmers market kind of kind of film snobs. We're like if your beat is looking a little rough, we're like, you know what, bud? That's a really cute beat though, man. We really respect you.
This tomato is deformed and it's got some spots on it, but you know what? I can tell you picked it yourself and you brought it to the market,
right?
And
your dirty, filthy hands have been all over this tomato, and it makes me feel really good.
I respect that.
That's what I like.
In a day and age where we're living in a dystopian, fucking corporate capitalistic society,
$200 million movies, period,
that get shit out and they all look the same sometimes. That that we're like the scrappier ones, warts and all though, warts and all. So.
Of course. Well, that's the thing. Yeah. And if you make it hyper violent, then you've got us by the hairs.
Of course, this is the fucking
we're
movie.
easy. We're simple. We're simple men. Yeah.
We are. We're like, yeah, look at that fucking dude just got disemboweled.
I know, right?
That's what Rodel Dorado was missing, man.
I know. That's what we said. We're like, if Cortez just like had a head on a pike, we'd be like, hell yeah, dude. Road to El Dorado is the best movie ever made.
I know. It's so fucking typical. Like, I hate to fall into that because
I know,
I'm like,
I
know. I like a good, wholesome movie, but so often we're just like, we're edgelords, dude. Just admit it.
Well, no.
Okay, so often we're
First
just
Cow.
like.
So go watch, go listen to our First Cow episode. That right there will prove it'll kind of like if every movie was First Cow, I'd be just as happy as if every movie was The Spine of Night.
Yeah,
that's kind of my.
That's the spectrum though, because First Cow is so wholesome and nice and just like cheery, but it does have a dark edge. It's got a dark edge.
Well, that's the thing. I know we have to have a dark. Yeah, it can't. It has to be sad.
We're a couple edgy boys that got some darkness in our souls that we like to see put to screen, And so Cortez with the pike.
This is it, dude. This movie, like it sums us up, man. I really can't that's it. I'm done here. This movie got us.
This is like the kind of movie we would make. So,
Yeah.
If you're wondering, gee, guys, I wonder what kind of movie you're talking about right now. You're just rambling on and on. Of course, we're talking about. I mean, you clicked the thing. We're talking about The Spine of Night, the rotoscoped animated movie from 2021. The Spine of Night, folks. And so Pablo, our good friend, I listened to our last episode.
He's a friend of the pod. He's been on a few episodes.
He's been on a couple episodes. Go listen to those. He did like martial arts month with us, and he'll come back on. He'll come back on another time.
We'll take any of his criticism.
Yeah. Well, he was like, the last episode, I was like, really struggled through the synopsis, right? And I was specifically like, hey, Arson, we'll get our shit together maybe one day. And he texted me and he's like, guys, that's your guys' synopsis. Like, you get your shit together. He's like, okay. I'll help you. Because he keeps.
It's the wake up call. It's the wake up call we needed.
Well,
thank you, Pablo.
He keeps wanting to be more involved, and then he slightly tips his toe. So we'll see. He said he was going to write a synopsis for us, because we were also be like, we need a producer, right, to help us out.
We do, yeah.
So he was like, I want to be more involved. I want to help a little bit. So he's like, I'll write the synopsis for you guys. But then he texted me and said that he got like food poisoning. So he did not write the synopsis, but just in case for him, because Pablo was like, you guys' shit's trash. You're trash people and you bad human beings. You should feel bad. I did write a quick synopsis. Well, I guess it's like 4 paragraphs, but still probably better than what I had.
No, right. It'll be more succinct than us just kind of rambling.
Yeah. So I wrote a synopsis real quick for The Spine of Night as backup for the moms and the folks at home that have not seen the movie and still would like to listen. So, are you ready? Here it goes. You ready, Jordan? You look ready. All right.
I'm prepared.
All right.
Yeah.
So, Spine of Night begins with the Witch Queen Zod, or however you say it, as she trudges to the top of a snowy peak and into the skull of a long-dead god. There she shares her tale with the Guardian of the Bloom, a magical plant that grows from the remains of the ancient corpse. Yeah, it's metal. It's all so metal.
Dude, it's so good. Yeah, the Bloom, baby.
Her tale begins with her tribe being killed and she being captured by the local king's men. She's taken to the castle where she meets Galsur, a scholar of a local order. She burns the king with her shawl of bloom leaves and is thrown in jail along with the scholar. Together, the two escape just for the man to kill her and steal her magic leaves. She dies in the mud and is lost to time. Years later, the land is in turmoil, and Galsur is held captive by the inquisitor of his order while he toils away with the bloom in the basement keep of the great library. With Galsur's magic, the town finally succumbs to tensions and storms the keep in search of food and retribution. Death befalls pretty much everyone, and the scholar ascends into godhood and is free to take control of the lands. Even decades later, Galsur's undead armies wreak havoc across the land, leaving nothing but wastes in their path. A group of bird-like soldiers from a warring city sneak aboard a war zeppelin, metals fuck, heading back to the main temple. After a brutal fight, they crash the flying vessel into the building, injuring Galsur and knocking the bloom from around his neck. It flows into the blood and water downstream until it eventually winds up at the bones of the witch, which it then reanimates. In the present, because she's telling this all to the Guardian, kind of like the history, the last, 100 years or whatever. In the present, she leans to the Guardian. She learns that the Guardian, in which she... I'm sorry, my writing does not make sense here. So she learns that the Guardian, in which she tells the fates of the land, is the latest in a succession of men who have come to seek answers from the dead gods. Galsur follows her up the mountain and attacks, trying to regain his power. With the last bit of magic, Zod the Witch summons all the previous guardians to tear Shalsur and his men apart, when she then proceeds to destroy his heart, ending this wretched age of man. And it literally destroys part of the land, but ends the evil plight. I mean, there's no one having a good time there, so I guess that's probably for the best. But and that's how it ends. They cut him in half, but he's alive because he's been godlike for so long. She smashes his heart, sends a ripple through the land, and it ends. And I didn't get really deep into the sauce of the mythology around the bloom and like the guardian's tale and stuff. But I think that's okay. I don't want to get too, because it's a lot of it is pretty. Well, it's like mythological and vague, and cosmic. You know, it's like it's bigger than you can ever understand. It's ancient gods, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think you captured the through line. Like I loved watching it.
It's like the segments, it's the vignettes.
It goes, yeah, the vignettes, and it's like primitive time. Like they literally, like, the witch is just living. They live in the land. They live in the mother swamp or whatever it was. Like, you know, that they use like familiar terms for like the land that they're in. And she's like, yeah, you know, respect this. And then like when they go to the first like castle, that keep where they're like they claim it's civilization.
And it's literally just like logs.
It's like disgusting and like and it's logs and it's very like
Viking almost,
like comparative to like settlers, you know, coming to the new world. Yeah. That kind of that's the vision I get, the imagery from it, you know. And it's definitely like this isn't historically accurate or anything. It's just kind of a mixture of badassery, kind of Viking-esque, you know,
and
settlers.
The ages through time too, where it's just like the next section, it's like more actual, medieval, like stone temple,
right? Stone temple, right, with some like metal work and such, and other, you know, and like the grand library and stuff is really cool. But then later it's like glass, and he's created like with the bloom and with the flower, it's like he's created like these like tubes that like kind of power the city. It's like really cool. It's I love that mixture of kind of, I mean, it's high fantasy for sure.
Yeah,
like,
dark high fantasy, which is dope.
Dark high fantasy.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
And
it's great because it just gives you a little taste. It's a little like that's what's I actually really like that. It doesn't get, this is more like a poem. Like the whole time. It's like, it's kind of almost like, I mean, it is a narrative. Like she's literally just kind of narrating the whole story for us, and there's very little dialogue. And so it's just like, you get like little bits of like learning who a character is just through like kind of their quick dialogue and then their action, and then they're kind of done. Like doesn't really, you know, this isn't like a heavy character study or anything like that. It doesn't even really, you don't really have like, the main character is technically the woman, the
witch.
You know,
and then
the witch,
and then Gal Sir, he's really, because she's dead for most of this, because this takes place over hundreds of years, and she was killed, but like she's recounting because she like she's magical and is mystical and becomes infused with the bloom.
The movie begins at the end, essentially, kind of her discovering that skull, and that's like
Gal Sir or whatever. He's like the only kind of through line, and it's like he's ancient and godlike by the end of it. And so it's interesting. It's like you kind of only follow his like de-evolution, you know? But I mean, you never really get to know him. But it's like, like you say, poem-like. That makes a lot of sense because it doesn't get too into the sauce with the world building, and especially the segments. Like it does feel like a tale told verbatim about like a magical land and the history of a land before. Like it does feel very old school fantasy in a way that's like, that we, Jordan and I, like, right, I've only kind of come around to somewhat lately, and so I kind of appreciate, when I say lately, I mean, like, the last decade. Like, we're not lifelong fantasy fans, and back when we were even edgier teenagers, we were like, fuck fantasy, I'm a sci-fi guy, and I hate that they get lumped together, you know? Like,
we did, we wanted a distinct, you know, like category where we're like, no, it's either sci-fi or fantasy. It's not like, you know, there shouldn't be both. There should be one or the other. But now I'm definitely like, I'm into the blending of it all. You know, this kind of had, I mean, this doesn't have any sci-fi necessarily, but it has a lot of cosmic horror in it. And
it does, which I was not expecting. And I love, you know how, we love our cosmic horror, man. And I was so there for it. Yeah. But, so obviously this was our first viewing. I had seen a chunk of it before. I tried to watch it. I actually tried to watch it a couple years ago when it came out because I just saw a thing for it when it came out, and it's like a Shudder, like Shudder bought it or something.
Yeah.
And but I watched like the first like 20 minutes or something, and I was like watching it with my kid, and then I was like, it's probably too much, but you know she probably would have been fine with it, and. So this is my first time watching it for real, and this was your first time. What were your like first impressions? I knew you I know you had like an idea of what it was going in.
Of course, yeah, right. Like I saw the trailer. I think last like Horrortober or something. We talked about it, and we were like, hey, maybe this will be something we
because it's niche, finally. Right? Like a high fantasy rotoscoped like NC-17 ultraviolet,
right? And my only like true, I mean, we clearly we just talked about Tintin last episode, and that's mocap, which is essentially digital rotoscoping. And so it's like we're very like familiar clearly when we talked about the Lord of the Rings, the like whatever the 70s or 82 or something, that old school, that is the rotoscope I so can vividly see that rotoscope in my head. And same. It has this movie has the same pitfalls with that style of animation where it's not as expressive as I wish it could be, and it makes the characters feel kind of, I mean, don't get me wrong, like I love this movie clearly, and I just feel like it gives it a weird proportion to, like, there's no the scope to like the background and the scene. It's kind of limited. It's kind of a weird like as the character walks away, it kind of looks a little silly. And so it's kind of it's a weird style that is hard for me to get around. But in this film, there's a lot of like sick imagery. And then I thought truthfully, I really loved the writing of this. Like, I don't know. I can't like when they were really like, getting like profound and like talking about just like when they drop the line, the spine of night, when they're like tripping balls at the fire, they burn just the balloon
that
and
round,
stuff, and
that random couple that like finds a bit of it after their town gets destroyed,
right. And it's like that's so beautiful to me, and I'm like I'm a sucker for that, like the one thing that like it's this super powerful thing, and you have somebody who like is like, no, you have to respect it. It's like it's so powerful, and then I love the character that's like, well, I'm gonna exploit it, and like I can make this more powerful and take it on, and then like it kind of consumes them, and I'm a big fan of that. So like I love this movie story wise. Like it kept me engaged the whole time, and like even like by the time because you said it's very vignette-y, and like by the time I'd kind of be like, oh, where are they going with this? Are they going to like actually kind of build more of a character and like actually have us like have like true scenes? Because they rarely ever have like a conventional scene where people are talking about a plot and moving it forward. It's more just like people kind of are meeting each other, and then they talk, and then they'll like say something that's headier, and it's like a little more about the universe instead of just like actual plot points. And so I kind of didn't know what to expect, and then it would like come, and then once we finally got to those birds, I was like, "Holy shit, these guys are awesome!" And, like, I love that they're just like these like crazy assassins, that have just been training forever. But
like in retrospect, I was thinking like, because I agree, I pretty much agree with all that, because it's like I do think the writing is the weakest part, but not the actual writing, right? Like I think the structure is like clunky, but when you look at it. Only when you look at it from like a traditional narrative, right? And that's why that's why it never bothered me, because it was like, oh, okay, it definitely doesn't follow like the traditional. It's like broken up into like very weirdly paced, but it does feel like kind of like an epic poem or like something like that. Like when you put it that way, it does flow a little bit more easy, like better, and I kind of appreciate it more because it never bothered me. Because even though like looking back on it, I was like, yeah, it's like sort of a like kind of messy in the way, but it's just like it's messy in the way of like verbal storytelling that like happens like passed from generation to generation that like obviously fits the vibe of a fucking reanimated ancient bog witch that is like somehow infused with the bloom, which is like the essence of a dead god, like, right? You see what, like it can't like Of course, it doesn't have a traditional narrative with like characters that you can like latch to. Because I was expecting,
This isn't freaking like whatever House of the Dragon or something.
Well,
like,
right, and it's not like, and it's not Lord of the Rings,
and,
which is like a good comparison. Or Fire and Ice is like the other '80s rotoscope, big fantasy one, right? It's like where it is like a traditional type hero's journey. Like this is not that. And I thought for a second, because like you said, you think it's gonna like maybe start setting up a character, but then it jumps forward in time, like an undetermined amount of years, but like potentially generations. And
Yeah.
because it's like the woman who survives the middle section with the Inquisitor, that she's like the knight.
I know. I love that.
The knight of
Yeah.
like the scholars that like goes out and finds the books
She
and
escorts
everything.
the books with her. Yeah, right.
Because
yeah.
she survives that encounter, and so I was like, oh, okay, so it's like she's gonna be like kind of a main character, and then it's just like no, it kind of just like lets her live in that world and moves on to the next section, which I kind of appreciate, because I wasn't like, when it moved on to the next scene, I was like, oh shit, because it's always giving you something new that's cool, right? That it's just like it leans into its visual style and its creativity of like working minimalistic and like relying so heavily on just like getting these performances and just like building out from there, and like probably lots of concept drawings, you know. But it's like, yeah, it's years and years of fucking undead armies just like wiping across the land and shit. It's cool. It's really cool. I'm glad we ended up watching it quite a lot, because I had a good time with it. I was pleasantly surprised. I had to put on the one thing I hated, because like some of the performances were kind of bad, and the one thing that was one of the other big things. And I had to like struggled with subtitles, which is always a thing on Plex, right? But I had to put them on because like the audio was like, it was just recorded on like a fucking like DSLR or something. It's just like a guy in a room.
Dude, 100%. No, this was such a like low. I wish I could really find. I'm assuming that we can talk about budget a little bit later too, like we normally do, but there is no, like, spoiler alert, there's no true recorded budget for this, and so I'll kind of just have to play off of what the director has done for other films. But this is under $100,000.
No, really?
Sure.
So because it's so much elbow grease.
Yeah.
It's like you shoot the thing with a couple performances, and it's like you get like I don't know how they got the later distribution slightly, but that's like Patton Oswalt does like a small role in it, which is fucking hilarious to hear him playing that king.
He was awesome. He did a great job, and we were laughing because Patton Oswalt, he's like an avid voiceover actor. Like he does.
He does.
I mean, he's like four characters in BoJack. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done so many. I mean, so many. I think he's in fucking, what is that, like? Oh my god, in Invincible. Like,
I haven't watched that, but I need to. It's on my list. I've heard his voice, because he's got a distinct voice. I've heard his voice show up in like kids' cartoons too, and then my kids are watching. I was like, "Is that fucking Patton Oswalt?" And I had to look it up.
And it is, and that's what I love.
Seeing him in this,
Xena, Xena the warrior princess was in this.
Was she?
I was like, yeah, that's Lucy Lawless, but I actually don't know who she played. I didn't look it up. I can look it up right now. But yeah, it's like, it's kind of wild how like they got these, and in that AMA he was talking about how like he's like, oh man, you know, people were like, is it were you surprised that you could get these, like, you know, movie stars to be in this basically just like a passion project that he did over years, you know, in his basement? And he's like I'm actually, you know, I wasn't that surprised, because he got a lot of recognition on Love, Death and Robots,
right?
And so
I heard that.
He's kind of just like, you know, he has that like recognition there, and then he's just like, they were into the project, man. He's like I figured they'd be somebody who kind of understands it, and like Lucy Lawless 100% fucking plays, you know, she's Xena, so it's like I think she'd kind of get this. She totally Xena as like, you know, tame, you know, and as made for TV as Xena is. It's got some funny, you know, kind of stuff in it too, you know, like it's totally like it's in the same vein for sure.
Xena is kind of fun.
So she played Tizad. Is that
that's the witch? She played the witch.
That's the main witch. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah,
that's cool.
Lucy Lawless is
I was wondering, I was wondering, with all those fucking titties and bush hanging out from the get-go, god dang.
I know, right? It's funny. It's like, actually, for
80s fantasy throwback, like heavy metal vibes.
Right. Heavy metal. I mean, that's right. So I was gonna say, like, this clearly, and that's what I love too. It's like it wears its
it's not sexual
on its sleeve
at that in those moments, but it's just not, like just still, it's like drawing titties, man. Like, I don't know, it's still fun.
Right.
Cartoon titties.
I love it too. It gives you, but it also gives you that, like, that kind of like, you know, humanistic part of it where you're just kind of like oh, she's naked, but it's like she's just
tribal.
Like, and it's like, yeah, tribal, sure, and like, but I love it because it's pure fantasy, because it's like she'd be dead in that mountain.
She's like in that peak of a snowy mountain. Yeah.
But I love, yeah, right. Like it's literally impossible to be out there in what she's barefoot.
These are not.
I mean, her bush isn't going to give her some warmth, but it's
just
like,
enough.
It's like she's got some like bones on her arms. It's like cuffs. It's like you're like.
First of all, through the bloom, all things are possible. So jot that down.
I know, right? Jot that down, dude. I would eat that bloom. I would eat that bloom in a second, baby.
Oh yeah, dude.
Like,
just fucking trip
that
into the old gods of space, because that sequence was amazing. But I think. So what was your? We don't really do this as much anymore. But what was your favorite part?
Yeah. I mean, that clearly the scene when whatever like. Who's the bad guy though? Like
Gal Sar or whatever.
Is it Gal Sir?
I wrote it down and said it like 10 times in the synopsis, but I realized as I was reading the synopsis, I spelt it wrong like every time. So I don't know.
I'm looking at the thing, and it's like, why is
it? The cute little ripped guy with the beard, who he is.
Right.
He's got the most screen time, obviously, by like a mile.
He does, and it's like he's the lowest. I think he might be one of the.
Oh, he has to be amateur, just working on it.
One of the creators, or
his performance is fine, kind of in the lighter half, but it's the worst.
No.
It's the worst.
It is the worst out of all of it, which is totally fine. It's just like fine. Us. It's like if we did something. It's like
everyone else
anyways,
is
his.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. Yeah, everyone else is like
they're hamming it up. They're hamming it up, and they're really leaning into they're leaning into like the ridiculous and like going hard into it, where it's like Patton Oswalt is like, yes, Squire, and being ridiculous. But
yeah, right.
This guy, he's just like talking like you and I would talk like now. He's like, yo, don't throw me in a cell. The fucking thing is going to hear about, like, he just sounds like a regular dude from like modern times. Yeah. When he should have like just fucking leaned into it and put in a silly accent and just kind of went hard with it. Like he does later when he goes full crazy and he's like, like he's like full evil.
Yeah,
but he'll never be as good as that blind homeless man. He's the best character though. But
oh, dude, yeah, he's pretty damn good, dude. And he gets murked, man.
Dude,
everyone
he's
gets
got the
murked
best
pretty good
death.
in this.
It's so good.
He's got a good death. But I love when that Gal Sir, when he takes when he like eats it, and then it like he like I don't even remember what part it is in necessarily, but like. He opens his like his eye in his chest, and it blinds that like the clerk, the like,
Inquisitor, dude,
the Inquisitor, the head priest guy, dude. It's so sick when he just like fucking blinds him.
Well,
with it.
Even cooler. Beautiful. It's not that he eats it, dude. It's even cooler. It's when they fucking. Everyone dies in the courtyard, and then all the blood comes up.
The blood. That's the whole reason. That's right, Dad. That's what he's like. He's like, I need more blood.
Absorbs the blood comes alive, and he like absorbs it. And then the eye opens into his chest, and it's just like the blue light fills his eyes like liquid. So good.
Yes. Yeah. That's so cool. That's what I love, dude. I loved how like the blue. He'd make like zombies essentially. He'd like bring. He could like control everybody hive mind style with the blue. God, the colors were beautiful in this. It's like I like, and that's the thing. I think with the limitations of this animation, it's like it's made up with just the fact that like the whole thing is fun and creative, and it's so genuine. That's the thing. We always say that you don't have to have like the greatest movie. It can be really rough, and it doesn't even have to be a movie I necessarily like, but I totally respect the like. Sincerity that they have making this.
Like stop motion. I still probably like stop motion a little bit more, obviously, but it's just like because the handcrafted element. But it's like stop motion. There's not really a workaround. Like they have found ways with like AI to kind of make rotoscoping somewhat possible. Like Joel Harver on YouTube does shit like that. That's like looks pretty good for what it is, but it's like you have to put in the work, and so automatically. Like saying that this movie took like 7 years or something to just like animate.
It was 7 years.
Just like the elbow grease, you can see the elbow grease because even though like some of the background drawings are really good, some of them are like feels like they're just using like real photos. They're just kind of touched up a little bit, like maybe even like some 3D references in the doors and stuff. But it's just like that's what feels like. Is it a triple A Hollywood production value fucking Disney style of having 100 animators working on it. No, this feels like a couple dudes tops, maybe even just like one guy, right?
No, it literally was like 4 people that animated this.
And it makes sense because it's just like, and that's the thing. It's like seeing the effort makes every bit worth it. And it's like, there's a real clear, like, even though I feel like some of it's a little too clean, like it's grimy, but like some of the lines are just like a little too clean for me. Occasionally, it's like, it's clear that this has such a creative vision behind it, like from the get-go, to having like this like dark fantasy and the bloom and the ancient god and like this blue cosmic horror kind of vibe that runs through the undertone of this movie. Because like when the dude like when his he becomes possessed, the Inquisitor, and he like his like fucking shawl like grows and he goes up to the roof, and then it like peels off, but then the giant eye opens in the sky and everything, and smites him down, right, and blows him up.
That's so sick. Yeah, that's so sick.
It's like, I feel like it's scenes like that and like all the other like climax scenes. It's just like, I don't know. This is such a niche type of movie that's like fits a very specific type of vibe. But if you're into it, it's like you're not getting anything else like this, and so it's just like, it's great. I don't know. It's a lot of fun if this is like what you're into, despite its flaws. Because like I said, it's like it's got, you know, amateur style acting. I think that, and this is a limitation of rotoscoping too, like you say, like, I wouldn't say it's not expressive. If anything, it's really good with the micro expressions, right? With like body movements and stuff. But because of it, it's like movements look very awkward, like you say. So like every
they
single
just don't
time
fit
in battle,
the scene.
every time, because it's like a lot of compositing, which feels like, and you can't tweak it really very good, you know. So it's like you just have to composite it and live with it. But it's like, what cracks me up is just like how like some of the fights are like just so slow. You know what I mean? And like at the beginning when they throw the spear at the guy, and it's just a shot of him going like just like slowly dodging out of the way of this spear and stuff. It's a charm. It's like a little goofy, but like, but I feel like they know it. Like this movie's got enough goof. Yeah. It's like, you know, it's a big-titted bog witch marching up a mountain from the beginning scene. Like I feel like you ought to know what you're in for, where it's like it's super grimy and metal as fuck, but also like don't take it too seriously. Like this feels like a tabletop RPG campaign or something, maybe. Like it's really grimy, but it's like having fun, kind of like.
That's how I tried to pitch that to Victoria so she'd watch it, but she was like, I don't think. She's like, I think I'll pass.
I didn't even bother asking my wife to watch any of these movies this month. I know she'd laugh in my face.
Oh, I know. Yeah, Well, this would probably be the closest one because it's like the acting is not. They're just talking, you know, just people reading essentially.
Tintin, because it's like she could trick herself into thinking it was real, but maybe.
I know, maybe. Yeah, kind of, I guess. I don't know. Because that's the thing. I'm like, if we want to compare them. Tintin to me is, I guess I already said that earlier, but I'd rather watch this movie 100 times than Tintin again, because it's like, I just don't like that. I don't like that animation style. It's weird.
I love it, but thematically,
for me. I don't know.
Thematically, this fits. But like, imagine the Spina Knight story told with Tintin style would be dope. Because that's the thing. It's like there's still a lot of work that goes into like building the environments and everything.
And I understand. No, don't get me wrong. Don't listen to our episode.
It is cheating a little bit. You build the model and then you plug in the data and they do the thing, which is not. Right. It's still very cool and it's very neat and fun and a lot of simulation shit going on. There's very high tech, but it's not the same as I have to draw, you know, 1 billion fucking frames of this guy's cloak fluttering in the wind. You know what I mean?
I'd rather like find like, you know, the guy that's locked himself in his room and he's done all the storyboards in blood on the wall. Like that's the kind of guy I want. I don't want a guy in like a computer. Look how clean my animation is. It's like I'm just like, yeah, cool.
They're
good
actually
for you, bud.
eating the bloom. It's like,
I know. Well, dude, I really think like we don't do this very often anymore, but I think if you like this, you should watch 2 movies that we've done here before, Mad God and Valhalla Rising. Those are 2 they definitely like
that tracks.
That is like Valhalla Rising was like the whole time I was watching this, I was like, oh, it wears its other influences on its sleeve, like wholeheartedly. It's totally like it is heavy metal, it is Lord of the Rings, like and they have said that as much, you know, in the AMA and stuff. But I'm like, man, this like the like brooding intensity, the music, and the violence are Valhalla Rising.
The mythic quality, right?
Yeah, right. And that kind of like that like oh my god, I can't say that word. Ambiguity and
ambiguity. I don't know what you're trying to say.
Ambiguity. The ambiguity of Valhalla Rising.
This is the Cult of Cinema Knowledge podcast.
I know. It's not. This is. We went to a public charter school, so this isn't the words podcast.
They passed everyone.
But that like literally, it was like you couldn't fail. Like there were people there that were like stabbing teachers and they couldn't fail. So, but in Valhalla Rising, you don't know really who the character is, and like outside of just people talking about him, it's like as he's a myth. But it's like, but you like you're connected with them.
Yeah, I can see
that. It's really
that.
cool, and that's how this feels. It's like.
I feel like
that,
if you like Valhalla Rising, you would like this. So long as you like animation, then it's like
sure.
I think that it's similar vibe. And like Mad God, like you say, I was thinking of Mad God too because structurally, like it's the elbow grease, long period of time. It's like the kind of like overarching vignette. Like Mad God's a little looser.
I mean, Mad God's a 5-star though for me. Though, so I'm like you saying Mad God. I'm like I wanna watch it again. I love that film. It's so good. That's like I don't know. That's like a
similar. I definitely feel like if you like
level,
Mad God, you'll like this, and vice versa for sure.
But exactly, yeah, exactly, and that's So I'm hoping if anyone out there's seen Mad God, you'll watch this or vice versa because it. And I want to see Ice and Fire now. I didn't really know about that film. It wasn't really on my radar.
I remember seeing a bit of it when I was a kid, just because it's like. Again, it's like, but yeah, I don't remember anything about the details. It's like, other than the biggest thing for me is like the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit movies. But like, I remember there was a handful of those. Like, those were obviously the like late 70s, early 80s. That was kind of the vibe. But like, rotoscoping's been around. Like, a lot of people kind of talk shit on it, I feel like, because it's like cheating a little bit. But it's like, obviously, like Linklater is kind of like the more modern pioneer for like the keeps doing rotoscoping stuff.
And I love he does just kind of like dramatic narratives, but then that's what I love about my God, speaking of the Bloom, and then I'm forgetting the name. We've done it on the pod.
Scanner Darkly.
Scanner Darkly.
Yeah, it is kind of
Scanner Darkly has
literally like blue flowers though.
I know, right. Just I guess it pops really well. It's a nice.
What's that called? I'm trying to remember the name of the drug from the movie.
I know the like pharmaceutical thing that they make, but I mean, rotoscoping was literally Disney's first.
It's
film,
everything. That's the thing. It's like people think it's like cheating and tracing, and it's like it is tracing to get more natural movements, but it's more than that. You know what I mean? That's the thing. It's more than that, and it's like probably easier. I mean, it's hard to do some movements, but it's like probably easier to just do like a different style of animation than to have to go through the effort to do all that. But it's like I don't know, it feels like stop motion, like kind of a lost art. And I think again that's why we lean into like liking this a little bit more than maybe like some people would or that don't have an interest. But it's like because there's so many ways around it. It's like you can't just go into a program and just have a frame blend into the next and just put in keyframes and and just have it fill in the blanks with some computer program to do your animation for you. It's like stop motion, and even this, like it goes back. Rotoscoping goes back as old as cinema. You know what I mean? And I don't know. Maybe we're just hipsters because it's like rotoscoping and stop motion are like some of the oldest forms of animation. You know what I mean? And but like for a reason, because it's like there's something so like raw and tactile about them both. You know what I mean? That people have been drawing on film since film was invented.
Right, and that's what shows through is like you said, elbow grease is the thing.
God, I'm surprised I didn't put fucking. Now I'm thinking about more Linklater. I'm surprised I didn't put any of his on for the last poll because it's like, maybe it's just because I didn't want it to win out because they're more popular. But like obviously we did Scanner Darkly, but like Waking Life or even Apollo 10.5, which I want you to see because it's great.
Yeah, I do. I really want to see it. It's actually really blowing my mind. He's done 3 rotoscoped films, feature films. Yeah. That's crazy. That's awesome, and they're good. It's like those work really well because I would imagine that he probably shot all of it like live on location and then did all the rotoscoping. So it like they really fit in the scene a lot better. Where in this movie, there's so many times.
So much like compositing. It feels very like
so,
the digital compositing.
It's so jarring too. Yeah, like the compositing, but then like to watch them walk across the field and you're like, oh, they're like, there's no camera movements. So it's just him going from like perspective to like a giant or something crazy, you know? Like, I'm like, oh, this is, and then vice versa, where it'd be like, he's really huge at the camera and he's walking away and you're literally, it's just like, it like looks like, you know, he's just getting smaller. You're just like, it looks, he's not walking anywhere. He's just getting smaller. So
now I want to work on a rotoscope thing.
It's charming.
Just to see, because, and I'll tell you more about this later, Jordan, because I'm working on a little bit of a rotoscope thing just to sample for a school project that I have to do.
Yeah, you're saying that.
And so, depending on how that goes, I might want to do something else with it now, because I feel like this isn't, again, this, like you said earlier, this gets the creative juices flowing a little bit. Like, seeing movies where they're like within our grasp, because, you know, it's like, I don't watch, you know, Avengers Endgame and I'm like inspired to filmmake when I watch that, you know what I mean? But it's like, I watch something like this
Tintin,
and I'm like, I agree.
To keep it relevant, it's like I'll watch Tintin and I'll be like, well, that's like a crazy spectacle, but it's like it took $100 million to make this movie. It's
That's
kind of
cool.
like, okay, yeah, that's like, you know,
Well, and that's the thing, like Jordan and I, like, you know, we fucking, we've tried, like with our fucking brains the way they are, it's like we've tried to learn other programs. I've tried to learn Blender like 10 times. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, I want to like open my toolbox to have more creative outlets and stuff. And like, you know, we're filmmakers and storytellers at our heart, and we've dabbled around with like comics, but neither of us are like that great at drawing either. But it's like seeing something that feels like someone just put in the effort and is like within kind of like our grasp. It's inspiring. Like it goes. So this, I don't know. It does. It tingles that creative juice in the way that like seeing Clerks when I was fucking 14 did to me. Like I saw Clerks when I was 14 and I'm like, I could do this. Like, this is great. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Seeing someone just fucking swing for it and just being like, I don't have $100 million and I don't have a fucking huge team of people to work on this. It's like, I don't have it, but it's like where there's a fucking will, there's a way. You know what I mean? And that really shows here. And so, again, that passion goes a long way. Goes a long way, buddy. So, I don't know.
It really does. It really, well put. You know, it gets me redded.
I'm sure it didn't make very much money, and you said you didn't know how much it cost to make, but like,
this is what's.
Do you know anything about
what's frustrating?
Like,
is like,
how it came to like get distributed or anything? Because I know it was on Shudder, so that was probably like a break for it.
Right, and this is his like. Technically, he's only directed 4 films, and this is his 3rd film that he did, and it's a collaboration. Obviously, the director's Philippe Galette, maybe Galata, maybe I don't know, but he did this. He was a writer for the Europa Report, and that movie was only $125,000. So
okay, that's been on my list for a while. It's like a little found footage, like sci-fi horror kind of.
It's
vibe?
sci-fi, yeah, totally, yeah. And it's
we should watch that.
Kind of it blends like old matte paintings and stuff together, and like yeah, it looks really cool.
It's been on my list a little bit actually.
So and that's like that was made for 125. So I can't imagine that this film was made for more than 100,000. Like especially because it's a 7-year project, so it's kind of one of those things where it's that ratio, the triangle. It's like if you want it done fast, it's going to be expensive. So it's like I can't imagine it's more than that. And freaking, I hate I've complained about this before, and it's so hard to get like a clear picture on how streaming services do their distribution and how
no one even knows, man. It's a fucking weird world they live in.
And so he I'm gonna go through his AMA and see if he kind of like touches on this a little bit, but he did Love, Death and Robots, and he was like extensively worked on those projects and stuff, and they clearly come from a lot of different people, and so he helped write some of the projects and stuff and got that together. So he's one of the head, kind of like front runners of that whole production, to get on there. So once again, who knows? I mean, Love, Death, and Robots. What are they on now? They've done 3 seasons.
I think.
Right?
I think the 4th season just came out, maybe.
Or did the 4th come out?
Or
already?
is
So
coming
cool.
out.
So
I think that's what they're up to. Those 4.
Right, but I imagine that this was all passion project, and Shudder bought it. So who knows? Maybe they bought it for like $50,000 or something. Like whatever. It's
that's
maybe
cool.
even a mil,
just
they bought it for a cool
just
million.
to throw them.
That's all speculation. I don't know, but it's on Shudder, and we love Shudder, so hopefully
Yeah, I
don't know, dude. That's what's crazy with like streaming services. It's like the power of numbers, dude. I mean, that's how like Patreon platforms work. That's how crowdsourcing works. Like they're making like 40, 60 million dollars a month on these like on these platforms, and like so they basically are effectively they're their own production company. That's something I've been reading into, is like that's what like Netflix went from being like a digital blockbuster to a production company now. and their model, they take like the Blumhouse model, where they're like, all right, we're gonna like make a lot of these like $10 million budget movies, and then hopefully recoup from like getting more subscribers. That's the part where I'm like, you hit a ceiling eventually. But I mean, capitalism's like that, so who knows? I don't know, whatever.
But I mean, like we said before, that's the way to go, though, is just take more risks, though, because there's just like, you never know. It's like the path that's going to go on. Like, so many people have started on something that's like small, but someone took a risk, and then it's just like, then they've gone on to be like huge for everyone, you know what I mean, involved. So it's like, we'll see. It's like that's why A24 is like, they're a massive, they're like $1 billion. They're not like scrappy anymore, but they still they select the smaller movies, and they help the smaller ones that like, so they can take risks. And that, because that's why we get kind of so much generic garbage, is because it's like, you can't, studios don't want to risk $300 million on a new IP. It's something that they don't think is going to make money back.
Do you know what really? I just like, I was listening to a different podcast, and it's called What Went Wrong, and they were touching on the like movies, like the old like whatever, like what are they called, like Swords and Sandals style, like biblical epics and stuff of the time. And so it's like they were discussing Ben-Hur and 10 Commandments and stuff. And these movies where it's like, at that time in the 50s and approaching the 60s, studios were starting to do that. They were starting to do what we're doing now, because everything's cyclical and comes back together. It's all time's a flat circle. But it's like they used to just make movies. They would be like, okay, we're gonna make a $200 million movie, and we're gonna make 3 of these a year, and they better make back all of their money, or we'll be bankrupt. And like, that's kind of
we're getting
kind of where we're at right now with
we're getting to the
studios.
change of the winds. Like, things are bombing that they didn't think were gonna bomb.
So
superhero movies are bombing. Fucking Disney's live action remakes are bombing, and so maybe it's time for like, I'm hoping we get a little bit more. I mean, with all the strikes and AI and all this shit, that maybe we get more of a little bit of a resurgence. I mean, indie film, like, people who say there's no good movies nowadays are just not watching movies. Like, you're only watching like what's out front, because it's like there's always some pretty good smaller stuff that none of us can. I can't keep up with. I wish I could.
Check out your local film festival too. That's always the cool place to do it.
Anyway, I got one Reddit. I bet you can guess who it's from. So Clones of People 2, he says, first watch. I hadn't heard of this until you guys mentioned it last week. This is not something I would normally watch, but I'll happily watch pretty much anything. I enjoyed watching this. I found the story interesting, and I liked the character designs. I liked the medieval style, but with many characters that felt like they were from different mythologies. And I liked that it had lots of elements that felt like it was mythology. The score was great. Oh, yeah, we didn't really even talk about that. The score was good. I honestly wish that, awesome. Like, just like a droney doom metal was what I was imagining. That's what this needs. But I did really like it, though. Anyway, he says, score was great. It really added to the vibe, and it was my favorite element. The rotoscoping looked great. The backgrounds were so rich that the animation on top was really pleasant. I've done a little rotoscoping before, and this film must have been a pain in the ass to make. Overall, I think if you like this style, you will love this, but it seems very niche. Thank you for commenting, and thanks, man. For I appreciate you watch all the movies. You don't have to, but I love
so
that
awesome.
there's someone that actually watches them fresh with us. But yeah, man, it's mythological, like you say. That's a good way to put it. This does feel like a mishmash of legends and myth, and like, I don't know, like because it's like it almost ends where it's just like a reset, because it's kind of like how the Guardians come up every time, and it's like the vibe where it's just like there is no hope, but then they keep people away so that there's like a mystery to the world, so there can be hope that flourishes in the heart of men and everything like that. And it's like, but then it's like, oh, okay, it gets wiped out. It's like a new age now, and it'll probably just be the same cycle of death and violence, but maybe there'll be some hope in there, because there's not much right now. Anyway.
Yeah, I loved it, dude. Thank you for commenting.
Yeah. I don't got anything else to say about this. I think it's dope, and I wish there were more movies like it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
Despite
check
its
out,
flaws, it's got some warts, like I said. It's got some stuff, but it's like, because of everything, it's charming. I think. I don't know, like the bad acting and some of the weird jank. It's part of the vibe. So I'll probably watch some scenes of this in the future. At least revisit some of the scenes just because they're fucking cool.
They really, that's the thing. I think there's like, you could probably
cool.
just watch a compilation of this and get a lot out of it.
It's cool, man. And like, we didn't even really touch on the hyper violence, really, but it's
it's.
Fun.
I mean, I don't know. This is what I always say is like, it is very violent. Like, that's totally lit. But it's like kind of part of it, a little bit like. It feels kind of almost video gamey too, in that sense. Like,
what is
they do it, I don't know how it's all how each attack is staged, but because kind of like you're saying, it feels awkward, because there's not like, it doesn't have like the Northman where it's like fighting is like chaos. You're like in the middle of it. It's amazing. Where this is like okay, we're gonna watch this dude get like chopped. Like, you know what's about to happen, and I'm like, but I love it. I love watching it. And they did so many good teeth bashes.
Yeah, dude, or like half the skulls just laying on the ground, the teeth showing up. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, good stuff. So, I think we're gonna do like queer movies next month.
Yeah.
So go onto the Reddit, check that out. We're done with animation month. I hope you guys liked it. We always end up watching. Like, I always am fighting the demons of, like, do I do the popular movies or do I do the weird off the beaten path movies? I always go with movies.
Stay true.
We always end up going with, like, what do I want to watch? Because I'm, like, there's only a handful of people that are actually watching them. And let's do them, because it's, like, we didn't do a single Pixar movie this month, which it's, like, I was gonna. And, like, something else always just won out. So I hope that you guys got what you wanted out of animation month, because we did watch some more a little bit weirder ones. Maybe one day.
Weebs,
yeah.
For the weebs out there, we are going to do just a full dedicated.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Like an anime, which is so funny because it's like it's just animation, but the like. Japanese
everyone knows what anime.
Adjacent.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's anime and that.
I couldn't do
mind.
like a Studio Ghibli week.
Right.
You know what I mean? I feel like that would just be too. So I'm gonna just, in the future, this year coming up, next couple months, we'll do a full anime month, because I want to watch like fucking. I been more in the mood. I want to watch some classics like the Ghibli movies, but like Perfect Blue, Kira, all that good shit.
No, we
so.
get Paprika is one I've wanted to.
I've never seen Paprika. I've seen a scene from it. And it looks fucking cool. So.
And like maybe Akira for once, like we haven't everyone watched. Like it's like one of those movies. It's like we need to watch it because it's like it's so good and it's got a lot of it. It's sci-fi. Yeah. It's sci-fi.
Oh, I loved it. I loved Akira. That was the movie that kind of got me in. Like, I'm not into anime really, but that was the movie that I realized. Oh, like anime isn't just like Pokemon or whatever. That was years ago, but
right.
Anyway, so yep. Stay tuned for that. Yep, that's going to come in the future. But I think for June, we're not going to jump right back into anime. I think for June, we'll do like, queer-centered movies. So if you got a suggestion for what you want to watch on that, I'll have a post on the Reddit. Go check that out. And stay tuned for those movies. And thank you for watching and listening and commenting and doing all those things this month. So we like you. We like
you guys rock. And if you want to support us further, which we appreciate heavily, is Patreon is one great place. That's financial. But honestly, telling people about us is great. And then coming to our YouTube, dude, that's really actually a spot where we're picking up with, and I like it. I want to get a play button one day in my life. And
if you're here,
that's my goal.
I appreciate it. I got dirty laundry on the floor over here, so
I know, right?
This is professional.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like, this is what you're watching now. Is like you're watching our glow up.
Sure.
We're like
you
this,
should go back to.
Soon it's gonna be.
Well, to be fair, if you're listening to this, you go back to our most popular video for some fucking reason. Is the Basic Instinct video that's most popular. We had shittier cameras then, so we're only going up from now. So.
It's true.
So all right then. We'll talk to y'all next week.
Thanks, you little anime freaks.
All right, bye now.